All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back with the Wednesday edition of the MLB Witching Hour. I got my guy Hebrewcheetah Rio over here, man. How we doing? I'll bring you in right away. It was a great night last night. We'll hit on that in a little bit here. Baseball streets are still going strong. Obviously, we've got a couple days left here of the regular season, and then it's postseason baseball. Great time of the year, NFL, everything else going on. Great time to be a content provider over here and a sports fan. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. For sure. A good time over here. Had somebody take down the $15 GPP last night for $50K. Shout out to him. Yeah, it's a little bittersweet being on here because this will be our last time together for the MLB streets. But, you know, as one door closes, another one opens. So we got NBA right around the corner, that's my bread and butter, man. I'm really excited for that. We're going to have a great season over there. But, yeah, still some money to be made in the MLB streets. So we'll get after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. NBA. I love NBA. I'm sure you and I might do an NBA show here or there. Obviously, I love NBA as well. You have a ton of experience there in the NBA streets with some live finals, things like that. Incredible product we got coming for NBA projections content. All the meetings happening behind the scenes to get a nice schedule to give you guys everything you need to have success with DFS, not only NBA, but we got NFL, we got NHL coming around the corner here that I'm going to be heading up. MMA, we got the Ryder Cup this weekend. So everything that you need over here at SHIPITNation.com. I'll throw this up on the screen. If you guys are not a member yet, guys or girls out there, $19. Head over to SHIPITNation.com. Get you 5-day access to all of our content, all of our projections tools that'll take you through all the way through NFL Sunday this week. Main slate, have all that. Get your feet wet. Test it out, and then make a decision there before you commit to the monthly or the 6-month or yearly packages over there. And when you do that, right, we always put the screenshot up here. Oh, it's not just football. Those prices are not just football. No, it includes all of our content, all of our projections, all of our sports for that low rate there. But you mentioned it. Gotta throw it up on the screen here. Our guy ran 12-11, 6 lineups in the big contest last night and shipped the 50K. You see his post there in the Discord last night. Absolutely incredible. It was awesome to see that. 6 lineups into the big one. Took down the contest by pretty healthy margin, almost 10 points there. He went on that Arizona stack that I know myself and Title absolutely loved last night on the show here. It was all over our core plays over here. He played my guy Seth Lugo, who I talked about a ton there, and played those Dodgers. Some of those Dodgers went a little Arizona Dodgers, and that was definitely the route to the top yesterday. Congratulations again to Ran. Looks great seeing that Ship It Nation logo up at the top of the leaderboard there for 50 stacks in your pocket. We appreciate you. Congratulations again, Ran. 12-11. Been with us, as you can see there, founding family member. So we love to see that. Been with us from the start. Absolutely elite addition there into the. We love when members win over here. Nothing more to say about that than we love members winning. And we got a nice little 9-game slate here, and hopefully someone else, either in the YouTube chat here on the team or another member, ship some nice money tonight, leading into NFL tomorrow and a big NFL weekend. Say hi to a couple people in chat here. We got Ross, we got Aubrey, we got Jake, we got Andrew Martinez, Myron, everybody in the Discord or in the YouTube chat here. Nick, Butthole, I see our guy Title Crown. Everyone in here, if you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Keeps these shows free. We bring you these shows every single day, regardless of the sport, for free right here on this YouTube channel. All we ask is a like button, a subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Let's do it. That's enough of the promo off the top here. We got more money to be made at 50K up top again in the main contest. Let's see if we can go back to back over here with Ship It Nation logos up at the top. Let's start with pitching. Let's start all the way up at the top. We'll go 8K and above. Got some interesting guys. One guy I want to throw out for sure, Pablo Lopez. We just saw last night, same matchup, right? I'm still concerned with the inning upside there, but got it done last night again. Pablo Lopez seemed to be 40-50% owned here. Garrett Cole right there at $600 more. Sub 5% I'm seeing right now on him. That's pretty interesting to me personally. Jose Barrios I'll throw out there, getting probably 30 to 35% ownership as well. You got Griffin Canning, Bryce Miller, and Framber Valdez rounding out this top tier. Where are you going, Hebrew? Where's your interest?
Yeah, so I agree with you on the questioning the inning upside for Pablo Lopez. Saw Bailey Ober get pulled last night, only at like 85 pitches in the 5th inning. I mean, they're not really playing for anything right now, so I could see them kind of having a tight leash on him, but got the best matchup on the slate, 8.5K prop. So he's, Vegas clearly seems to think that he's going to get there. I could, Bailey Ober still put up 30 points last night in 5 innings, so you could definitely see Pablo Lopez get there. And then for Garrett Cole, he does kind of interest me a little bit just because he's got the inning upside, but with the big bats on the slate with the Dodgers and the Braves, who we're going to talk about later, it's just I find it really hard to pay 12K for him. I don't think you need to really go there. I would much rather take the $1,800 savings and get down to Framber Valdez, who, matchup's not the best. Seattle's been pretty good lately, but he's had some spike games recently. Had a couple 10 strikeout games, and he's gone over 7 innings in 3 out of his last 5. So I could see myself playing more into the Framber side than Pablo and Garrett Cole.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're a little bit different up at the top. Framber, I mean, elite versus lefties. He's only going to see one lefty, it looks like, projected right now in this lineup at JP Crawford. I mean, he's almost got a 50% strikeout rate over the last month to lefties. I think he is interesting, but I have a little bit more interesting, it sounds, than you and Garrett Cole. I mean, anytime you're going to give me a guy that's going to throw 100-plus pitches here with the strikeout upside that Garrett Cole can bring, I have to have interest, especially at sub 5% there when the guy right behind him that everyone wants to go to, it's only $600, right? So, yeah, $600 is useful when you're talking Dodgers and Braves bats, but $600 isn't like $3,000 or something like that, right? And at sub 5%, direct pivot there with I think a guaranteed higher inning ceiling, pitch count ceiling, everything like that. Obviously with the Twins clinched there. Could Pablo Lopez go out there and do it again, kind of what Bailey Ober did last night? Absolutely he could. I think Pablo Lopez is a better pitcher than Bailey Ober. I'm just going to take the side and say I'm going Garrett Cole over Lopez. If there was no salary concern on the slate, which obviously that's not how MLB DFS works, I would just lock in Garrett Cole and Pablo Lopez on the slate. I would just play them both. But it's very hard to do that when you got a team total over 7 for the Dodgers. You got a healthy implied run total for the Braves, other big offenses and bats to spend out on the slate. It's hard to do that. So I do like both of those guys. I'm definitely going Cole over Pablo Lopez, in my opinion, here with the ownership, just everything baked in. Everyone just saw what Bailey Ober did last night to the same Oakland, even with the pitch count concerns and the inning concerns there. So could see people going right back to the well there. And obviously that's how ownership is looking currently. I'm going to take the other side and just be a little bit underweight there on Pablo Lopez in tournaments. Framber Valdez is interesting there. He's going to get a little ownership. He has been good. Looking at his numbers over the last month or so here, limiting his walks, limiting hard contact. Obviously he's an extreme ground ball pitcher there. So I think he could do enough. I think he's fine in MME formats. Probably not a 2 to 3 max team play for me personally. I would just find some money to get up to Garrett Cole or Lopez or drop down. I do have interest in Jose Barrios right there in that same game in Garrett Cole. Looking at the weather there in that game, I haven't looked at if the roof is open or closed there, but temperatures look to be in the 60s and wind blowing kind of across the field out to left, maybe a little bit if that roof is open there. I haven't checked that. Someone in the chat typically looks that up, so we appreciate that. But I do have interest in Jose Barrios there. Griffin Canning, I think, is going to get some ownership here too. I think people are going to play him against Texas. Texas is a scary offense to play a pitcher like Griffin Canning against. So I'm out on Griffin Canning. So really up here for me, it's Garrett Cole, Pablo Lopez, and Jose Barrios for me is kind of how I'm looking up at this top tier. You can definitely take a shot on Valdez in MME, but I'm playing 2 teams tonight, and Valdez probably will not make the cut on either one of my teams personally. Let's jump into the lower tier here. A couple guys I want to throw out for sure. Sean Manaea, projecting to get a decent amount of ownership here at just 6K. I know the Oakland guy there, Joey Estes, was hitting a lot of the optimizer builds because he is just 5,300. And you got the Dodgers in Coors Field on the slate, best hitting conditions by far. Just nuked last night in the second game of that doubleheader. Now get a terrible bullpen with no lefties pretty much available in that bullpen, which we'll touch on when we talk about bats. So you need some cheap pitchers to make those Dodger stacks work. He's probably going to get a little ownership down there because he's almost stoned. I mean, he's 5,300. He's cheaper than a lot of the bats, high-priced bats on the slate. So hit on him, hit on Shane Manaea. Dane Dunning up at the top. I have a little interest in him as well. Hit on him. And then Darius Vines for Atlanta here because obviously Atlanta, people want to play Atlanta against Tyon here at home. Vines should have some run support here. 6,400 makes a lot of things work. Any interest in some of these cheap guys down here?
Yeah, I definitely have some interest in Dane Dunning for sure. I just don't know if I'm going to get there because, Barrios is only 800 cheaper or 800 more expensive, sorry, and I would rather play him. I didn't mention him when I was breaking down the upper tier, but I do like Barrios. But yeah, I'd rather just go like all the way down and go to Estes and the Sean Manaea, Zach Thompsons of the world and just kind of hope that they get me to 12, 14 DraftKings points because I just don't think that Dunning has that much more upside than these guys in the low 6Ks to 5Ks. And I'll probably end up playing a good amount of this Estes kid. I mean, he was a highly touted prospect coming in, had a pretty good strikeout rate, 23% in the minors. And the Twins were a matchup we were attacking, a lot in the beginning of the year. They have some high strikeout bats in there. So I'm really not afraid to go down to there if that allows me to get to my Dodgers and my Braves stacks. So, yeah, he would probably be my favorite value. Not super interested in Darius Vines. It hurts me to say I'm a Braves fan, so I want to like him, but he just doesn't really have that good of stuff. He's just he doesn't throw hard. Doesn't really have like amazing strikeout stuff. You're really just hoping that he can get you 5-6 innings and get the win bonus. So I don't really have a ton of interest in him. I'd rather just go all the way down.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out one guy there too. I do like Dane Dunning here, but I also like the guy right below him, Wade Miley here. Looking at this Cardinals lineup that they threw out here, it is pretty ugly, right? No Arenado in there, no Goldschmidt. I mean, you got Jordan Walker batting second, Luken Baker, Yepes in there, Nootbaar, Herrera, this Corso Cuto guy, Palacios obviously hit a bomb last night. He's in there. And then Mason Wynn. I mean, this is a very, 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 very weak lineup for St. Louis. Wade Miley at home here, favored in a game where I like some of these Brewers bats against Zach Thompson. Brewers been hitting the ball. So I will throw Wade Miley out. I like him quite a bit there. I'm seeing sub 10% ownership on him right now. I do think that approaches a little bit more. I think some of that Dane Dunning ownership is going to go to Miley once more people build lineups and look at this Cardinals lineup that is confirmed there. So I like Wade Miley. I like Dane Dunning. One thing I will say just for everyone that's listening here, once you get past these aces up at the top, right, that we talked about, it's pretty much close your eyes, throw a dart, and hope you hit the bullseye on the dartboard. So if you guys have a case to make for some of these pitchers down here, just trust your gut and go with it. I mean, we're going to throw out some names. I'm throwing out some names, but realistically, all of these guys can get blown up. None of these guys are safe by any means. It's just a matter of what you want to do with your bats when you're punting with a pitcher down here. So make some case. It makes some sense, right? Like you were saying, Rio, to go all the way down to the bottom with Estes to allow some of those spend up bats. I do think when people are looking at that, he's got a pretty decent projection for his salary, right? Projected over 10 points. I have him for right now. It makes a lot of work with your lineup. So I do think people go there. So I like Dane Dunning. I like Wade Miley. I like Sean Manaea. And those are my three favorites for sure down here in this lower tier. I get the points with Estes, but that last start, he came in, gave up 3 home runs, six runs in 3 innings or something like that, 3 bombs, something like that. Twins just went nuclear last night. In Target Field here, it is temperatures in the mid 60s, wind blowing in. So not the greatest hitting conditions, pretty cold overall. But again, I think these Twins are interesting on the bats as well. So let's go ahead and give people our top 4 pitchers, and then we'll go game by game.
All right. So it's going to be Pablo Lopez, clear number 1. I mean, you can't deny that he's got the highest upside with 8.5 K prop going against Oakland. So I like him. I would put Framber number 2, and then Barrios 3, and then all the value guys underneath them.
Yeah, no, excellent points. I'm going to go, all things considered, Garrett Cole, number one. I think the discount on ownership there with his ceiling upside, we know we're going to get from him. He's going to throw 100-plus pitches here, likely, if all things are going well. So I like him. We just saw what King did last night. Obviously, King didn't nuke the slate, but you pretty much needed him at the salary. I wish I would have had him over Tanner Houck there. Very, very frustrating there. My main team was Braxton Garrett and Seth Lugo. With that weather, with that update that I tagged everyone in the Discord. That's why it's so important to be a member over here at SHIPITNation.com in the Discord. Tagged everyone saying, hey, I'm getting off that Miami game. Don't think it's going to play. It was just annoying that I then went up to Kevin Gausman and Tanner Houck instead of Braxton Garrett, who I think would have had a very good game. And then obviously Seth Lugo was pretty much needed last night at the point he brought up, but I do have interest in there. So Garrett Cole, number one.
Braxton Garrett, and you still would have got more points than Tanner Houck.
I would have.
Yeah.
I would have got more points in general because Gausman only scored like 22. So Lugo outscored Gausman by himself there, and then took the 0 from Braxton. But overall, what can you do? I'll go Garrett Cole, number one for me. I'm going to go Jose Barrios, number 2. I'm going to throw Wade Miley in there, and then I'll throw Dane Dunning in there against those Angels as well. If I had to pick a fifth, I didn't bring him up too much here, but Matt Waldron at 7K flat there in that same matchup we just saw Lugo have success in last night. He's just 7K, and I'm seeing him projected sub 5% ownership as well right now, 7K. So I do have interest in him. Let's go game by game. Hold on, let me just get the sheet up. Let's start first game on the slate. We have the Yankees in Toronto. Jose Barrios, Garrett Cole. I think this is more of a pitcher's duo personally. No bats for me in this one. Do you see anything I'm missing?
No, this is a pretty easy game to break down. Just play the pitchers and skip over the bats unless you just want to make a case to one off Aaron Judge. You know, he's always got double home run upside. That would be the only person I'm really interested in here.
Yeah, Myron, I see Matt Waldron got brought up a couple times in the chat here. I do have interest in Matt Waldron. Same matchup that Lugo just smashed in last night. These Giants, not any good. Waldron, I mean, not a great pitcher by any means, but he's just 7,000 in a matchup that we just saw happen last night. Could he do it? Yeah, I think so. And he's sub 5% ownership, so you can definitely go there. I prefer Dunning and Miley, I think, ahead of him. But you can definitely go there. And I also like Sean Manaea in that same game on the other side too. So, yeah, no bats for me in this Yankees game. I'm kind of with you there. Like both pitchers, I think you can definitely pair both pitchers together in a GPP, Garrett Cole, Jose Barrios, and then find some value stacks or mini stack those Dodgers, things like that to build a roster. I think is definitely a viable route there. Next game, we have the Braves. You have to talk about the Braves. I think if everyone pivots off the team that people pivot off the Dodgers for is definitely going to be Atlanta here against Taillon at home, right? We know what Taillon is. Kind of doesn't strike many people out. I mean, below average strikeout rate, sitting right around 21%, barrel rate in double digits, and you got the Braves here at home. Braves got the job done last night. They hit a couple bombs, scored some runs, and the expected ISOs on this lineup 1 through 8 are all bright blue on our sheet over here, which means very good for home run upside and a lot of fantasy points. Do you have interest in these Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, for sure. Jameson Taillon's not been that good over the last 30 days. You got a 205 ISO, and we know what the upside that the Braves lineup possesses. I really like 1 through 6 mainly. I just want to get exposure to those guys if I'm looking to stack it. But Matt Olson and Marcell Ozuna would be my 2 favorite hitters just because they're extreme fly ball hitters, and Taillon he's been a little bit more of a ground ball pitcher his last 30 days, but historically more fly ball pitcher versus lefties. I think Matt Olson has a really good chance to hit a home run here tonight. But yeah, I really like the Braves here. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to them just because the Dodgers are just in such a better spot that it's going to be hard for me to play them. But everybody probably is thinking the same way, so I think you probably get the Braves at pretty decently low ownership.
Yeah, no, I do like the Braves here. I think Matt Olson, I think he's a direct pivot right off of Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman's projected to be like 25, 30%, somewhere in that range. Obviously, he's a great play too, but Matt Olson, $100 cheaper. has just as much upside, you can argue, as Freddie Freeman here at home in Truist Park, who it's still pretty good hitting conditions for them. I didn't pull it up and look at it too much, but I'm assuming it's decent weather. Yeah, upper 70s, some slight wind blowing in, doesn't matter too much. One of the best hitting conditions on the slate this time of the year when it's cools off pretty much across the country, especially across the Midwest and upper Northeast. So Braves, I think, firmly in play for me. On the Cubs side, I don't think the Cubs are the craziest plays as mini stacks here against Darius Vines. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats. The Cubs have been hitting the ball around a little bit. Don't love it because their price points, they're priced up. I mean, so you're not getting very value outside of like guys like Talkman or bottom of the order guys like Yan Gomes, Miles Mastrobuoni. Outside of that, all those guys are like in the 4s and 5Ks. So they're going to be low owned. You could definitely play them. I prefer other offenses at the price points personally than the Cubs. So pretty much the Braves are pass in this one for me. Next game, we talked about it already a little bit briefly. It's the Cardinals heading into Milwaukee here to face Wade Miley. I have a lot of interest in Wade Miley. And looking at this Brewers lineup, I mean, Brewers lineup isn't the best lineup overall, but they are cheap here, very cheap. No Yelich in that lineup, but you still got William Contreras there, lefty masher, and my guy Tyrone the GOAT, Taylor, 2,900 batting third.
Oh, wow.
Historic lefty masher. So I love a little mini stack there with William Contreras, Tyrone Taylor. Got Rowdy's in the lineup. Caratini's in there at 2,800. So these Brewers are very cheap. Applied to score right around 4.5 runs, give or take, against Zach Thompson here. I think they're mini stack only for me. I really love William Contreras, Tyrone Taylor mini stack. That's a very nice mini stack there. Both of those guys smash lefties. You can see both of them hit a bomb off of Thompson here, and the game be like 3-1, 3-2, something like that, where both those guys hit a home run. The rest of the guys don't get there. So I do have interest in mini stacks for the Brewers. Prefer those two bats. On the Cardinal side, no Cardinals for me. This lineup is just horrendous here against Wade Miley.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. This is actually a really interesting Brewers lineup that they put out. You got Tyrone in the 3-hole, Caratini in the 4-hole. They mixed in a bunch of lefties too. So I'm thinking that I was hoping that Donaldson and Cannon would be starting. I wanted to play them a little bit, but this makes it a little interesting too. Definitely with you on Tyrone and Contreras, two lefty mashers. Thompson's a lot worse versus righties, and yeah, actually. It's kind of gross to say, but Caratini batting fourth, like he gives you a ton of salary saving at the catcher spot. I don't know if it was price or not, but yeah, I'm sure he's.
Yeah. I mean, he is cheap, but if I'm like I said, if I'm going to these Brewers, I want Contreras and Tyrone. Yeah. So I would much rather play Contreras over Caratini, but Caratini is 2,800 value guy there. Hasn't been the greatest over the last month or on the season overall. Against lefties, but I mean, he's cheap overall, so you can definitely go that. I mean, this lineup tells me that the Brewers are kind of just rolling these guys out there, getting them some ABs because obviously they clinched the division, already in the playoffs. So happy to see that as a Brewers fan, but overall not really thrilled with this lineup from a DFS perspective. Pretty much only interest I have is Contreras and Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, going to be the same for me. And then St. Louis, I think I'm with you. I mostly want to fade them, but I just got to throw out Walker, Luken Baker, Tommy Edman 1 through 3. It's not the best play, but they're pretty cheap, so they can make some things work if you need to get some salary relief and they're top of the lineup guys. And Miley's been a little bit worse versus righties the last 30 days, but I think I'd rather side with the Miley side than the St. Louis batters.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Next game on the slate here, we have to talk about it. Just looking at ownership, these Twins projected to be one of the highest owned stacks of the night behind Coors Field. I mean, you got the Dodgers and you got the Rockies as the top two projected owned stacks of the night. Obviously, with that Coors Field game, got Sheehan and Noah Davis on the mound, two pretty weak pitchers there. Noah Davis and Sheehan there. So makes sense. People are going to Coors Field with the weather too. But the Twins, I think, are the next team in line in front of the Brewers right now, at least projected against Estes. Obviously, looking at Estes's last start, I mean, sub 10% strikeout rate, ISO number over 500, gave up 3 home runs, 6 earned runs or 5 earned runs, I think, in his short-lived start there, and a bad bullpen behind Estes as well here. think these Twins are interesting. I personally like these Twins: Matt Wallner, Max Kepler, Polanco, Julian. Give me these lefties up at the top. I love all the lefties in here. Willie Castro in the lineup there at just 3,400, switch hitter, going to probably hit from the left side to start the game. Then you got some righties here. Donovan Solano right in there. Alex Kirilloff is not in that lineup, so no Kirilloff in there. I know some people are going to probably play him as well, but I think these Twins are definitely interesting. Implied to score over 5.5 runs. They're cheap. They're going to get ownership, but they make a lot of things work. And I think Estes, unless he miraculously flipped a switch since his last start, I know he's a highly touted prospect. I think he came over in that Sean Murphy trade, I believe. I don't know.
Somebody said it was the Matt Olson one. I think somebody mentioned that.
Matt Olson, yeah. I know it was one of those trades, but still, I mean, I think these Twins are interesting, make a lot of things work. Pretty healthy implied run total here. Not the greatest hitting conditions there in Target Field, but can do worse. It's kind of the nature of the slate. Not great hitting conditions all over outside of Coors Field. Any interest in that? And then some of these Oakland bats I'll talk on after you break it down, because I do have some interest in a couple of these Oakland bats as just punt leverage plays against Pablo Lopez here.
Cool. Yeah, so this one's kind of tough for me to break down because I want to just jam in the Dodgers tonight. They just have just such a better matchup than everybody on the slate. And I mean, unless I can, find a different way to do it, I think the one way is for me to just play this Joey Estes guy and kind of hope that he has the strikeout spike game. They have a lot of strikeouts in this lineup that have 26% strikeout rate among the starters in the Twins lineup. It's tough because I actually really, really like the batters in this game from the Twins side, but I just think I got to get to the Dodgers. So I'm gonna be a little bit more heavy on the Estes side, and that's going to be the way I'm going to attack that. And then, Oakland, some of these bats are interesting, but I'll let you talk about that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there tonight.
Yeah, no, the only reason I'm bringing up some of these Oakland bats, one guy in particular, Tyler Soderstrom, he's got pretty good numbers on the year. He's just 2,200 at a catcher position, right? Makes a lot of things work. You need value if you're playing those Dodgers bats, which personally I'm in on the Dodgers tonight. No surprise there. Pretty much everyone's in on the Dodgers, but myself included. So 2,200 at the catcher position. He's got a 324 expected ISO on the year on the road this season against right-handed pitching. Lopez probably, I think, only pitches 5 innings max here. Could he strike out 8, 9 of these Athletics? I think so. But 2,200 doesn't really need to do much personally to get the job done. And he's been pretty decent against righties, at least looking at the numbers here on the road. Brent Rooker, I think, makes some sense. Seth Brown a little bit too. Lawrence Butler has decent numbers. Jordan Diaz. I mean, these guys are almost nearly stone minimum. And you get leverage against Pablo Lopez. Not the sexiest plays by any means, but there is only 9 games on the slate. Very weak hitting overall in a lot of these games. I think you can do worse than some of these cheap punt Oakland bats. Not going to stack Oakland by any means, but pretty much one-offs for me. I like some of these value guys, Jordan Diaz, Soderstrom, my 2 favorites in this lineup. And then I'm in on the Twins, so we seem to be a little different there. I do like the Twins. I'm just not a believer in Estes here. I would find a way to get up to like Sean Manaea at 6K or Waldron, Wade Miley at 7,400. I think you can do it because those Dodgers, I mean, the Dodgers do have some cheaper bats in that lineup like Peralta, Jason Hayward, things like that. And we're going to talk about that next because right now we're heading to Coors Field. Both of these teams, 2 highest owned teams on the slate here. Sheehan hasn't been any good versus lefties at all. He got 3 pretty solid lefties in this lineup for the Rockies. I have interest in all 3 of those guys there in Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Jones, Ryan McMahon, however you pronounce his name. And then these Dodgers, I mean, 1 through 9, 7.4 implied run total against Noah Davis and this bullpen, which only has 1 lefty in the pen, and that's Brent Suter. He's thrown 32 pitches in the last 3 games. Don't think he's going to throw tonight at all. And I think all these lefties are firmly safe from pretty safe from pinch hit concerns. Obviously, if they're up 12-0 or something, Muncy, one of these guys, Freeman might sit down, but by that time they already did their damage. So love these Dodgers. No surprise there. Love the lefties for the Rockies. I think it's definitely a great game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in a total lockstep with you. Love Freddie Freeman, Muncy, Outman here the most. I would be starting my Dodger stacks with those 3 guys and then trying to fill in where I can. But those guys have just been mashing lately, and this Noah Davis guy is just no good against lefties. Super high fly ball pitcher. So they got me really excited there. I'm going to definitely be playing those guys in my main lineup. And then, yeah, I agree with you on the Rockies side. Nolan Jones, man, kid's a stud. He's batting the 3-hole outfield position. I could see him having a pretty big game. He's got home run and stolen base upside. Definitely like him. And then a couple of guys towards the bottom of the lineup, I got to mention the Elarus Montero. I think he's got third base eligibility, if I'm not mistaken.
Montero, no, just first base.
Just first. Okay, so that kind of gets me off him. I'd rather just pay up for Freddie or Olsen. But yeah, him and Doyle, I don't mind them if you're looking to kind of get a little wraparound stack. But yeah, I'm definitely in here on a full game stack of this game.
Yeah, I think a game stack might be a little popular here tonight. It is a 9-game slate, so there's enough other teams like the Braves, the Brewers, things like that people are the Twins that people want to play. So don't think a game stack is going to be too over-owned here. But yeah, definitely in line with you. Lefties for the Rockies. For me, lefties, I'm going to start with primary focus on the Dodgers and then add in some of these righties, mainly the fly ball righties for these Dodgers because he is a ground ball pitcher. Noah Davis is a pretty extreme ground ball pitcher to righties overall. So JD Martinez is my favorite righty by far, extreme fly ball guy there for the Dodgers. So he's my preferred. And I think that is one way you can get unique as well in these Dodger stacks is use up all 3 of your outfield spots, whether you play Mookie in the outfield or you play 2 of those lefties and JD Martinez or all 3 of the lefty outfielders. I think that's one way to get unique with these Dodgers is use all 3 of your outfield spots. People don't like doing that, right? Because you find a lot of value bats in the outfield. And if you do that, that's a little way you can get unique. So I like that quite a bit here tonight. Playing 3 Dodgers outfielders in the same build. Next game, we have the Rangers heading into LA to face Griffin Canning, Dane Dunning on the mound. We had interest. People are having interest in both of these pitchers a little bit here. I'm a little bit under on Griffin Canning. I just like these Rangers. Griffin Canning gets hit pretty hard here. And you got some very, very good hitters here. Corey Seager, obviously, Mitch Garver, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Robbie Grossman. If he continues to hit third at his price point, I love him. You got Leody Taveras down there as a value guy. I think these Rangers are interesting. They are implied to score over 5 runs as well here against Canning. And then on the Angels, pretty much no Angels for me. I like Dane Dunning quite a bit. This Angels lineup is just pretty gross overall.
Yeah, I'm going to actually be on the opposite side with the Angels here. I think that they are a little bit interesting depending on which lineup they roll out there. If they got Drury, O'Hop, Joe Adele, Jared Walsh in there, those type of guys. Because Dunning has been looking at his numbers. He's been struggling a lot lately to both sides of the plate. He got 223 ISO last 30 days. And it's just something about when teams are kind of eliminated, they're playing a little bit looser. They can kind of have a little bit more swagger. Like we saw the Angels go off for 9-10 runs last night. I'm not saying they're going to do that again, but they're all cheap enough to make some things work. And yeah, I don't mind them. And then I agree with you on the Rangers side. Hopefully they can get a bounce back spot. They got good hitters up and down the lineup, so you can 5-man them if you want to. Prefer them as a 3-man. They're all pretty expensive, so you gotta be cautious about how you're constructing your lineup if you want to get to a full stack. You're spending a ton of money getting to Seager, Simeon, Garcia. I mean, Jung's even got a pretty big price tag. So I would probably just prefer the cheaper guys because I don't think Canning, Canning's okay, but he's not going to shut you down, I don't think. So I don't mind the Rangers here.
Yeah, he gives up a lot of hard contact, a lot of power, and a lot of fly balls to the righties.
Yep.
So I like these power righties, Josh Young, Adolis Garcia. One lefty I do have, and Mitch Garver obviously in there as well. One lefty, if he does crack the lineup, Evan Carter, continue to play this guy. Stolen base power upside, probably going to hit 9th. He's 3,900. I don't mind him, or a little wraparound stack with him and Corey Seager. I like that mini stack quite a bit. It's been very good. It's won me a lot of money over the last 2 weeks or so since Evan Carter's been in this lineup. So like that. And yeah, no Angels for me. I'm a little bit different there. Not going to go to these Angels. I like Dane Dunning quite a bit in this matchup. Next game, we have the Astros, Framber, Bryce Miller on the mound. We didn't talk about Bryce Miller too much here. Astros, you can always play Jordan. You can always play Kyle Tucker. Personally, I'm a little bit under on this game in general. Don't have a ton of interest in Bryce Miller. I think Framber is an interesting MME play. Probably don't get to him in my 2 to 3 teams, but do you have any interest in bats in this one?
Yeah, Jordan looks like a an elite one-off tonight if you can find the setup to get up to him. I mean, he's just been crushing righties lately. And on the season and last 30 days, Bryce Miller has really struggled against lefties. 356 ISO last 30 days, 244 on the season. High fly ball rates. So I could definitely see Jordan hitting a home run tonight. I would really only like him. You can make a case to full stack them, but I just think you're giving up way too much upside with the Dodgers and the Braves on the slate. So I wouldn't be that interested. It's mainly just a one-off situation for the Astros, and then no interest for me on the Seattle side. I like Framber a lot here, so I will be off with these Seattle bets.
Yeah, lefties only for me for the Astros. So Kyle Tucker, Jordan, Michael Brantley, if he's in there, I think that's a very, very nice little mini stack there at minimal ownership, guaranteed ninth inning at bats, tons of upside there. Bryce Miller's not been good versus lefties over the last 30 days, just 11.5% strikeout rate. ISO numbers of 356, ground ball rate nearly under 20%. So two of the best lefty hitters in the game, and then Michael Brantley's been very good since he's returned. So if he does make that lineup, I don't see a confirmed lineup yet for the Astros, but if he's in there, I like those three bats quite a bit. And then, no interest really in the Mariners here. Framber is a good enough ground ball pitcher to take me off of Seattle here. Last game of the night, we have the Padres, we have the Giants, pitchers ballpark here in San Fran. Sean Manaea on the mound, Matt Waldron, two pitchers I think are viable on the slate at their salaries. Not a ton of interest in bats as late night hander here. If I went to anyone, I think it would be on the Padres side personally. Xander Bogaerts been very, very good. Juan Soto hit a bomb last night. I think he's fine. Fernando Tatis, obviously. But outside of those top four, really don't have any interest in these Padres. So pretty much a 2 or 3 man stack for me on the Padres side of those big bats. Kind of another spend up salary saver or spend up ownership discount off of the Braves, off of the Dodgers. If you're going to them, if you're looking for a contrarian stack with some upside.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I'll be getting there. Just no need to with the Dodgers on the slate. Kind of repeating myself with that, but I obviously really like the Dodgers and actually Manaea, since getting moved back to the starter role, he's been pretty good, pretty low ERA. The strikeouts have come down a lot. He's getting a lot more strikeouts coming in as a long reliever, but hopefully that can turn around a little bit. There are some high strikeout bats in this Padres lineup. So I like Manaea more than I like the Padres bats. And then SF, not super into them. Just way too much pinch hit risk. And I don't really know, if this Waldron guy is good. He had a big strikeout game last time, but the numbers don't look that good. But I just don't know if I can. If I never really play the Giants, they're just too hard to play with confidence. Did want to mention these guys in chat are talking about Emmett Sheehan for the Dodgers. I don't know if you wanted to touch on him real quick. He seems like a popular name right now.
Yeah, I personally don't have interest overall. I mean, you could do it. He's not going to get a ton of ownership in Coors Field there, 6,200. I would just rather go to Sean Manaea, who's going to be a little bit higher owned, or get up to Matt Waldron personally. But again, I mean, like I said earlier, outside these aces up at the top, right, which I don't even think the aces at this point of the season are safe, but these guys certainly sub 8K are not safe at all. So you can always make a case to go against the grain, play one of these guys like a Sheehan, like any of these guys down here, like your Estes Call, any of these guys, because they could definitely get the job done. And who knows if the Dodgers do nuke, the Braves do nuke these guys down here, if they get you 10 points, maybe that's going to be enough, right, on your roster. So you can definitely do that. I personally don't have a ton of interest, but again, all these guys down here, it's kind of just close your eyes, throw a dart at a dartboard is how I'm looking at it. I have my guys that I like, Dane Dunning, Wade Miley, those guys. But if you have a case, definitely I think it's good to just roll with your gut on any of these guys down here that you have a lean on.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be just a gut thing. I mean, he doesn't go super deep into games, so you really got to hope for a high strikeout game, which is definitely possible with the Rockies. They're not that good of a lineup. I just have more interest on in the batters just because the way that the slate is kind of shaping out, and I'd like the pitchers a little bit beneath him and slightly above him. So that would be my take on Sheehan. But if you guys have a take and you think he's going to have a good game, by every means, go ahead and play him.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a 37.5% strikeout rate over the last month. The only issue is he's going to throw probably 70 to 80 pitches is kind of his ceiling here. Kind of baked in at the price point, 6,200. I think he could definitely do worse. I mean, these Rockies do strike out a ton, almost 30% over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. So maybe a little bit more interest than I initially had in him. I'll have to take a bigger look there because he's likely going to have run support behind him as well and kind of just pitching loose out there. And maybe they let him throw a little bit different, a little bit longer, right, and see what they have because they might need him come October here in the playoffs.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and give the people your low-owned pitcher call. We'll give the home run calls, get out of here. That was all 9 games. We went through pitching. We went through the game by games. Now it's time for the favorite part of the show, your low-owned pitcher and your home run call. Where are you going for the pitcher first?
So, yeah, for pitcher, I'm just going to go all the way down to Joey Estes. I'm not sure what the ownership is going to come in when everything finalizes.
He'll be unowned. I don't think he's going to be very owned at all. Yeah,
so I mean, he's got a 4.5K prop with a lot of juice on the over, sitting at minus 142. I'm seeing right now, and yeah, I'm just kind of banking on people being excited about playing the Twins. Trying to fit them in with their Dodgers stack, and just hoping for a strikeout, a spike game from him because we do know that the Twins like to strike out a good bit. So he would be my low-owned pitcher call. And then my home run call tonight is going to be Matt Olson. Just elite numbers versus righties right now, and good matchup against Tyon. So I think he goes deep.
Yeah, no, excellent point. I'm going to lock arm in arm. I'm going to throw it up here with my guy, Jake. After looking at it, looking at our metrics here as well, I'm going Emmett Sheehan in that game. Pitch count concern is there, but I mean, he's had back-to-back pretty good starts there against Seattle, against San Fran. He threw 93 pitches in his last game, which is definitely intriguing. Again, I think they were already clinched in that spot or basically already in the playoffs in that matchup. So like I said, maybe they let him run a little bit deeper here. Seeing sub 10% ownership on him, 6,200. I'm going to lock arm in arm with Jake. Let's go, Jake. Emmett Sheehan is going to be my low-owned pitcher call. And then I'm going right back to the same team. I'm going to one of those lefties. I'm not going to Freddie Freeman. I'm not going to Max Muncy. I'm going to my boy, 4,500 hitting 7th, James Outman. Going to take one deep tonight against Noah Davis in Coors Field. Going to be chalky. I don't care. Give me these Dodgers. Give me Sheehan. Give me some of these other bats that we already talked about, but James Outman is definitely one of my favorite bats on that Dodgers lineup. Love all those lefties. That's going to do it for the show. We appreciate all the interaction in the chat. We appreciate everyone tuning in. One last time, if you guys have not seen $19, we do have a 5-day trial period over here to test all of our tools, our content projections, everything you need to have success with DFS, including NFL, including the Ryder Cup content that will be coming out if it's not already out already. Got MLB, we got NBA coming, we got NHL coming, we got college football and that in the Discord that members continue to print at. And one last shout out to our guy, Ran 12-11. Again, 6 lineups into 50K last night. Absolutely incredible. Use the content, use the show right here. Listen to it. Built the winner, built the stone nuts there. Shipped that contest by almost 10 points. Founding family member in the Discord as well. He's been with us from the start. We love to see that. We love to see members win. Hopefully, we see one of you guys win tonight. We see those SHIPIT Nation logos up at the top. But for Rio, Hebrewcheetah, I'm Nadesify. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.